Peter, how are you?
Welcome.
Welcome to Pass the Torch. Thank you
you
for having us.
Yeah.
Where are we right now?
We are at the headquarters of Bonny Doon Tools. Yeah, it's where we make all of the tools and where I make jewelry as well.
Do you mind showing us around a little bit?
No, let's go ahead and
Come on in.
give you a tour.
Come on. I'm gonna close the door behind you. It's insanely windy.
Wind is
no.
crazy right now.
Oh no. Okay. What is the first thing that you do when you walk in every morning?
I make coffee or tea.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was actually my next question. Coffee, tea, or
Both.
coffee and tea?
And tea, depending on the day and the mood. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. What is your most reliable tool?
Most reliable tool. No, there's a lot of them.
Good old reliable.
Good old reliable. I'd say there's two things: my big old shear back there and my Mitutoyo calipers.
Hey,
So,
those are very different in scale.
yeah, but both really useful tools. So.
What's a tool that you distrust a little bit? Just a tad.
Just a tad. Everything that's electric or computer controlled or like somehow overly mechanical has some kind of like maintenance and repair things that always go with it, which is funny because those are also my favorite tools by a long shot. So,
but you also just,
but it's like, yeah, like air compressor, CNC mills. And it's like, oh, cool. I had to just like replace a belt on a big, expensive machine this week. So it's always that.
What's a tool that you use every single day?
These for sure. I mean, the presses is sort of an obvious one. And then my steam cleaner, which is like not just for jewelry making, but for like everything in a machine shop, we use the steam cleaner a lot.
Can we get a tour of the presses and then also know what coffee maker you use?
Yeah, we can give you a full tour of the coffee machine. So here we have set up kind of a whole crazy assemblage. These here 20-ton classic, 20-ton Mark III. So this is the press that it's so amazing. It's simple. It's a small footprint and it can do a lot. The Mark III is fun. It does everything the same, but you can also do bigger like vessels and hollowware.
Right.
Other than that, they're like very similar presses. This is a new prototype of a mini high pressure 50-ton. So this is kind of one where, this is version 1. We're working on V2 now with like getting everything dialed in.
Right.
This is the original prototype of like our 55-ton Pro, which is the like super pro level. Like if you want to make mochame, if you're doing bracelet forming, deep draw, like it does everything really well. Die striking, 55 tons, you got a lot of force. That's the press that kind of does everything really, really well. And then right behind you here, this is what we call the Titan. So this is a this is a 300-ton press.
Okay, so for someone who's brand new to presses at large, when you say something like 300 tons of pressure, help describe that for someone who's so brand new to this.
It's hard to fathom what that means. I mean, 300 tons is 600,000 pounds of force. So it would be like a big truck is like 6,000 to 8,000 pounds. I'm not going to do the math right now. That's a lot of trucks on top of your metal. I mean, I think the biggest thing to think of is like most people have worked with clay.
Yeah.
And you can just squish it, move it in your hands. And in 300 tons, the metal is like clay. And so that's where, trying to really conceptualize what that pressure means is tough. Really what it does is it gives you the ability to do really large pieces with really insane detail.
Very cool.
And kind of mash it, move it around like clay. So it's a fun.
What's a tool in this shop that no longer works, but you refuse to throw away? Because this shop has been open for a long time.
Yeah, we've been here. I mean, we've moved around a couple different facilities in Taos. This is our third and final location for now.
Sentimental.
I mean, to be honest, my old hardened lathe back here.
Yeah, can you show us?
Yeah, it still works technically. It's just not up to what it should be because it's from the 50s and it needs a rebuild.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the thing that's like really amazing lathe. I still use it for making wedding rings and stuff, but it really needs a lot of work to bring it back into like full,
I've seen one of these before and I've seen how much maintenance it requires, but it's so beautiful and just does such a seamless job.
Yeah, and everything about it. I mean, like I can go in and I can control the size of a ring by 1,000th of an inch without like blinking an eye. It's just works
All the
really well.
collets right here too.
Yep.
Those are beautiful. What does your research and development process for Bonny Doon look like?
Oh, that's extensive. I mean, I have a huge list out in like that room of all the different things. We're always working on die making and the different ways to get there.
Right.
And that's what, like, starting back in 2017, we wrote a whole paper that broke down these are tool steel dies. Like, this is the end product, and how do you get there based on like what your skill set is? So, whether you're like a hand engraver or a wax carver, I think like, what's new in that realm is 3D printing.
Yeah.
We've been playing around with some fun and partially at least just a way to prototype dies, and then we can like make them in tool steel.
So talk about what tool steel is, because I think that's a really important thing for people who are brand new to understand.
Yeah, I mean, so when we're talking about like moving metal, like the 300-ton press, it really, the amount of pressure required to move silver or gold like clay exceeds the strength of most materials. So
Yeah.
mild steel is, I don't know, people think steel and aluminum is super strong. It's great, but they're only going to last up to a certain point. Most mild steel has a yield strength of like 35,000 psi. So when we're talking 600,000 psi on that 300-ton press, like we're way beyond mild steel. So tool steel runs the gamut. There's a lot of different alloys out there. We work specifically with air quench tool steels that are the most stable. They're the strongest, the toughest, because there's hardness and there's toughness, and that's a big thing. But essentially, the tool steels we work with can withstand way more pressure than we need to move silver to move gold,
Yeah.
and does require like specialized heat treating and stuff.
So something that's interesting to me is that you guys service all different types of jewelers. So for me, like a novice jeweler, but my interest is hand fabrication. However, it like in stature between myself and Peter, you can see which one of us is the smaller human. And I don't have the capability to move metal around the way that a lot of my peers can. And so, can you talk a little bit about how Bonnie Doon is seeking to serve all the different little corners of the jewelry world?
Yeah, I think, I mean, like hydraulic presses, the whole gamut from like just a manual hydraulic press all the way up to pretty fast like production. So I kind of like break down our company is not for everybody, but everybody from like sort of the novice jeweler to the small production run, like upwards of, if people are doing like 5,000 pieces a year,
Right.
we can get into that. Once you get above that level, then you're talking like a Tiffany and Company where they have huge warehouses. They're running very specialized die sets and stamping machines that are much more complicated than like a hydraulic press. And they're producing tens of thousands of pieces. So, yeah, I mean, kind of like our perfect avatar is pretty broad.
Yeah.
Generally, like the studio jeweler and the small production run shops are like who we really, like doing stuff professionally,
Right.
is really who we serve best.
And what's the biggest misconception about Bonnie Doon? Because I think I know one.
I think I'd be curious. Yeah, I think what's yeah, what's
I
it?
was gonna say that you guys are a big team because you
Yeah.
present like a big team, but
I always joke. I mean, I've gotten this. Yeah, like we're a professional company. We've chosen to stay pretty small because of the agility that comes with that.
right.
Uh, And then, yeah, I think that is probably the most common misconception. People are like, oh, yeah, you must have like 15 employees. And I'm like, no, it's right now. I mean, like, told, we have 4 people,
Yeah,
including myself, that's doing all of the production
right.
of all the tooling, design, customer service, etc.
Yeah.
So,
Can you walk us around some of your
yeah.
machinery?
So,
What's the weirdest thing in this shop?
man, you got good questions. Know what the weirdest thing in this shop would be.
You can say one of your employees, I won't tell
One of
them.
my yeah, yeah. Probably me if we're going that direction. I
What
don't know. There's lots of weird specialized tools and stuff, but nothing super weird.
okay, if you sent a brand new novice, someone who's never worked in jewelry, never worked around tooling, into this shop, what would be the very first thing that would confuse them the most?
Boy, especially in this side of the shop,
Right,
everything.
because 'cause you've got some heavy duty equipment
Yeah,
on
you're
all of
running like
this.
big computerized machinery, computerized mills, lathe. I think some of the stuff is kind of like we have a big bandsaw.
Yeah,
That's
over here.
fairly straightforward. But yeah, I mean, you turn this on and it's this whole like code and all these kind of weirdly specialized things.
What's the least impressive looking thing, but the most essential? Like the thing that seems unassuming. but is vital to your everyday?
These questions are tough. Honestly, I think the most vital thing would be our big Scotch-Brite buffers in this back room over here.
Okay.
So,
Just to, like, clean up the metal?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
finishing, cleaning. I mean, before we can like load a part in, there can't be like burrs and funky stuff on. It's got to be all nice and clean and smooth, so we can like accurately and precisely machine it. So,
yeah,
yeah, I think some of our big buffers. I mean, here's an example of a kind of a funny little buffer, but that's essential for like deburring edges
yeah.
of tools. So,
Scotch-Brite,
yeah,
on every jeweler's
well, and it's
bench.
like right, yeah, we use the Scotch-Brite pads, and then this is Scotch-Brite. We've got like a million different Scotch-Brite variations.
Yeah.
It's a great abrasive.
So how many years have you been running Bonny Doon now?
This is my 5th year now, like as owner and operator. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been working alongside with Bonny Doon for 16.
What have you found that your customers care about the most?
Every customer is a little different. Offer exceptional customer service, and it's like my cell phone is, always on. And then really for me, like the thing that a lot of people do appreciate is that they can trust our tooling.
Mhm.
And I take that very seriously. Like it's not like I don't ever send anything out where I'm like, that's kind of questionable, If it's not a tool that I would use in daily production making like my jewelry that I take a ton of pride in, like I won't sell that tool.
Yeah.
So I think, people really value that. I think that's an important thing. And
Yeah.
like the people that do value that, it's huge. I mean, like you buy tools, right? And
Yeah.
it's like you put up so much time and money and effort into like researching and doing all this stuff. And then like sometimes you get it and you're like, oh, this is not as advertised.
Right.
And I kind of always hope for our business to be the opposite of that, where you get it in and you're like, oh wow, this is way better than advertised. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Can you give people who are just now meeting you a little bit of background on how you got into the jewelry industry?
Yeah, I got into it through my uncle, the exposure, and grew up next to him, like working in his studio, and through a long road of like studying architecture and photography and then getting into doing like woodworking and stuff. Actually, it was kind of the thing that really brought me back as I was doing woodworking, and then I started making custom hardware for the furniture I made. And that was the thing that got me like kind of reignited that excitement for metal.
Yeah.
And then once I started looking into it, like it's endless. And
Yes.
so it's like, I mean, like the techniques that you can like learn and keep working on for a lifetime are really exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's in short kind of how I got into metal.
Yeah. What is the oldest piece of equipment in here still doing its job?
We have lots of machines from the 50s. That lathe you had 50s. This is from the 50s. This is a surface grinder, which jokingly, like, this just makes flat things really, really flat, which for like custom die making is critical.
Right.
That things are all perfectly flat and smooth and good. The oldest machine is going to be the Rose engine lathe.
Yeah.
Should we go in
Yeah.
there, back in
Yeah.
there?
While we're walking over there, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yeah,
If you had to run this company and could only sell one tool, what would it be?
that's a good question.
Is it these guys?
I would, yeah. I mean, if I could only sell one tool, it would be
One tool.
the manual, just a manual press.
Cool.
Because ultimately, in like the early days of hydraulic forming, people made all their own tools. And so that's still within most jewelers' wheelhouses of doing like all sorts of stuff. So, but making the press, welding it all up, getting everything precise, that's a little bit more.
And what I just recently learned that I really love about you guys is you can start out with a manual and then with time upgrade to the electric.
Yeah.
Up. So
Yeah.
that like you can use your same machine and just upgrade the what is it, like a piston?
Yeah, you upgrade. I mean, you actually keep the same exact RAM in there, and you just
Yeah.
add an electric power pack to it. And I always joke, there's like there's no upgrade tax on that. Like it's the same price whether you buy the whole unit together now or you add this pump on years down the road.
Right.
And then like also we have 35 years of like backward and forward compatibility. So we have presses from 1990 that are still in operation that like we still can service and repair and all our tooling still works with. And like
Right.
that's a rarity,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny, people always ask me like, oh, well, how often do I have to like work on this or repair this? And it's like, well, especially for the manual presses, it's like you use them until they like the seals wear out and the pump starts leaking, and then we put new seals in and you get another 20 years out of it.
Right.
So it's kind of comical how like
Hardy it is.
bulletproof
Yeah.
these tools are. Yeah.
Yeah.
The electric, of course, is more expensive, more complicated. There's issues, but I mean, it saves you, I mean, yeah, hundreds of hours a year if you're doing a lot of pieces.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Let's see that lathe.
Yeah. So the oldest machine in this shop, in terms of a machine that we use all the time, is this our field rose engine lathe. So this goes back to about 1915, 1920, as best as we know.
Yeah.
And this was from Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh,
This
cool.
was kind of like a production machine where they were using diamond points instead of engraving cutters. And
Uh-huh.
so this was like, there's people probably sitting here and like just knocking out little cigarette cases and other stuff on like this. So this one was kind of rescued from a basement in New Orleans
Cool.
and brought back here, and we like stripped it down, powder coated it, resurfaced everything, rebuilt the spindle and all of the rosettes, and yeah, got it in pretty tip top working condition for
Yeah.
doing guilloche engraving.
So does that serve your clients, or is it just kind of a fun thing to have?
I use it for like pattern development, so we've done a
Cool.
lot of dies where we usually end up going to like CNC to do the finished version,
Yeah.
but we use this for like developing the patterns and playing like that. And then mostly this is used in my personal jewelry.
Yeah.
So
Love it. What is something that people assume is easy but is not?
I think most things are actually a lot easier than people imagine they're going to be, but they take more practice than people think it's going to need. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, like first time doing hand stamping and trying to like do nice repeated patterns, like it's horrible and it's brutal. And yeah, then you put 2 hours of time into it, which 2 hours is nothing really. And all of a sudden, like that becomes not quite second nature, but close to it.
You develop it.
Yeah, the first 20 hours of any skill, once you get that past that point, things just become way easier. But most people don't put that time in to get that first building there. And like, I mean, I think with like press work and stuff, it's getting past that first hump, and then all of a sudden it's just like, once you kind of start feeling the metal move in a press versus just with a hammer, things really open up,
Yeah.
like what you can do. But
Yeah.
takes
That's what I'm
takes
excited about.
practice. Yeah.
I'm excited because I just feel like I don't have natural strength, and so having a press handy to be able to bend metal in a way that I personally would not be able to do
Yeah.
is a huge, huge component.
I think, and there's this thing too, you can bend the metal in such a precise, delicate manner
Mhm.
with a lot of force. So
Mhm.
those two don't normally go together. You think of like blacksmithing and like you heat up the steel and you have a 5 pound sledge. And I mean, it's great fun. You can like move hot the metal so easily, but you want to do something that's much more fine and precise and like hand engraved and complex. Like for me, doing a lot of titanium and Damascus steel jewelry, I can't physically move the metal in a way where I'm not like damaging
Right.
that. And so, I mean, this is like a funky little sample, but here's a little titanium cuff with this engraved pattern, and no hammer could form
Right.
that. We did a bunch of like trying to hot forge titanium, trying to do like different techniques, and yeah, titanium doesn't do well under those conditions. So in some ways, it's like the press is cool because it's so delicate, but puts the force to be able to bend metal like that.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
It's a good combination.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I
Yeah.
really love it. Okay, are you ready for some really quick rapid fire?
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Press or hammer?
Press.
Manual or automated?
Automated.
Fix it or replace it?
Oh, fix it.
Cool.
Yeah.
You would fix it yourself, or you'd find someone to fix it?
I fix most things myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do most of the repairs on machinery and stuff myself.
What still surprises you about this work?
How much potential there is with developing tooling and like how amazing like coining is. I mean, I think die making is like really the thing I've focused on the most, and it's just endless. I have a million ideas for like making crazy different stuff. And I think that, yeah, pretty exciting.
What do you want to tell brand new clients who have never had any exposure to you before about what you do?
That's a good one.
Like, what is Bonny Doon?
I think Bonny Doon, it's not just a hydraulic press, but it's a whole system of tooling that can really it can help you do things faster and easier. It can allow you to do things that you cannot do any other way. And I think it's like you invest in this platform, a classic manual press, and you can grow with that forever.
Yeah.
And we have like literally some of the best jewelers in the world are working on Bonny Doon presses. Um, and it's yeah, because that whole system is there in place to grow and to learn.
So talk to me a little bit about that. So you buy the unit,
Hmm.
and then what comes with that? What immediately becomes available to you with a manual?
I mean, when you get the unit, you're going to get essentially the press frame and some kind of hydraulic ram. And, if like on this one, the pump is integrated into it, or if you get the electric or like the manual hand pump, you get the pump.
Mhm.
So that's kind of that. And there's a few tools you need to get started. Helps to have some aluminum spacers. We don't have any around. Um, Helps to have things like a master tool holder. This is going to hold all of our mushroom formers, our coining punch, other stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then from there, you can go in any direction you want. So if you just want to make vessels, you can do like deep draw. You can do this was actually just raised or sunk in urethane with mushroom formers.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of a work in progress. Bracelets and rings were like my main thing as a jeweler.
Yeah.
Made thousands and thousands of bracelets and rings, and mostly titanium. Um,
That's predominantly what I am interested in, because the
yeah,
forming itself, like the hammering, I can do, but it's hard for me, at least at this point in time. And I feel
yeah,
like just having the dies that you have, can we show them really quickly? Like these anti-plastic?
yeah, yeah. Here's like right now we got a ring forming set up here. I'll pull that off, but this would be like the bracelet column assembly. So this is all magnetic. And what's nice about this is that you can like move it and rotate it and get your like ergonomics all set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, then this is like two different widths and radiuses of formers there. Anti-classic that goes up there. We have tons of shapes. Like nice broad synclastic. This is a really nice shape. 2-inch anti-classic. It's like for forming that.
Yeah, these are so cool.
Yeah, there's
Vessels.
vessels, eggs. Um, the
I
ring.
like the eggs. Easter's right around the corner.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. Should
We
make some
literally
cool
have
little Easter
make little
eggs.
eggs. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Okay, last few questions.
Yeah.
What do you hope people walk away with understanding about Bonnie Doon? And how do people get in touch with you if they have questions about how you could best serve their studio?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Our website, we don't sell direct to consumer, but the website is there, and we put a ton of time into instructions and educational videos. So I think that's the most important thing I would say is like take the time to go through like the videos that we produce. I used to teach classes all over the place.
Yeah,
It's like now we're putting all that time and effort into doing videos so that we can like reach people better,
right.
and then you can sit and like rewind and go over stuff. And there's tons of like safety and really nerdy stuff where I get into the math and science of it for people that want to. And then our instructions too. I mean, this came up the other day. Instructions for the coining dies took me a full week just to do like the full layout and
Yeah,
photographing of that. And
yeah,
then there's, whatever, 15 years of like my experience go into that. And there's all these cool little tips and tricks in there.
yeah.
We just redid all of our bracelet forming instructions, and it actually ended up being like a mini book. That was a friend of mine helped on that. It was like 300 hours of time went into those instructions, and so I get people calling and they're like, "Oh, I don't know how to do this." I'm like, "Well, have you read the instructions?" And granted, most instructions, most manuals that you get with tooling are horrible.
Right.
Um, not all of our instructions are like incredible. Um,
But you put a lot of time and
but
energy and effort into them.
most of them are
Yeah,
like really thorough and really
yeah.
good.
I have a printed copy of your catalog, but
Yeah.
people can download a a PDF version.
Yeah,
But
just
I have the
PDF.
printed, and it's like it's thick. You offer a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like I don't want to work on like some limited edition where like, oh, you can only buy this tool right now. So it's like if you buy a press and you like this tool, like I'm gonna keep making that tool as long as I can.
Yeah.
So that 10 years down the road, that idea pops into your head and you're like, oh, I remember that tool, and then you can still get it from us.
Right.
And that's kind of my whole philosophy with that. But I think, yeah, there's like 350 separate things, pattern plates, dies, all this stuff. And,
Yeah.
we only discontinue tools because, yeah, like because we make a better tool. Usually this is what happens. So it's like bracelet formers, there's the old, like this is an old prototype of a bracelet former. It's missing some parts, but obviously we don't make old school bracelet formers because we have such like better ones now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Awesome. This is so fun. Where can people find you? What's the website? What's the Instagram? All the
yeah,
things.
website's bonnydoontools.com, Instagram at Bonny Doon Tools, YouTube, whatever, / at Bonny Doon Tools, and just all of that, Bonny Doon Tools. Find us on the website. Tools, if you're just like want to skip over all that stuff and just go buy tools, you can go to realgrand.com for all of our presses and standard tooling, hammers, vices, etc., and microtools.com for hammers and vices and like all the kind of the bench tools.
That's great.
So
I did not, because I looked on your website and I didn't see anything like quote unquote for sale.
yeah,
And I was wondering if it was like contact only, but
yeah.
okay, Rio is a distributor.
Rio's distributor and Micro Tools as well.
Cool.
Both online distributors. Custom tooling, you call me.
Cool.
And I'm happy to do like free consults with people. It's really fun. Like custom tooling's not cheap at all. Because a ton of engineering and time and experience go into it. But like certain projects that I've worked on, I mean, we're saving people hundreds of hours a year for like one product. And I mean, like, you get these products that like hit and are good and they just keep selling.
Yeah.
And so like those are the types of projects that like might cost a couple $1,000s, but yeah, you can like customize tooling and you can get crazy and like save a ton of time and ideally make the product better as well.
Yeah.
That's always kind of the focus with the press. Is it's not just making stuff cheap and fast, it's making it in better quality at the same time as making it faster.
Yeah.
So,
is there anything I didn't ask that you think I should? Or did I cover it?
I don't know, there's a lot of questions.
You did so good. I'm so proud of you.
I don't know. I mean, there's like so much more is when I like talk about like,
yeah.
I mean, just jewelry in general. And then, but like just the press in general.
If people
it's
are ever
extensive.
Passing through Taos, can they come by?
Yeah, you can always hit me up. Website, there's all the contact info there. Like I welcome people, do shop tours, we can do stuff. People are super interested in training. I think the best training is one-on-one sessions. Like it's the most expensive, but it's like all tailored to you. And so I have people, who'll make the trip here just to do training here. And it's super fun. I mean, last person I had, we made a bunch of tool steel dies and I ran the heat treating after they left. And then like a week later sent them and they have like this whole arrangement of dies that we like made in a day-long class.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff's super cool.
Yeah.
And those, I mean, the dies that we made, like there's gonna be 10,000 pieces produced.
That's the most insane thing that I'm seeing right now in this shop is like you're engineering all of these dies and they go through these massive CNC machines.
Yeah.
But that is just blowing my mind because I work on small scale, right? Yeah. And so I think jewelers forget that the tools that they have take these much larger pieces of equipment to bring to fruition.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is an awesome workshop and it's really, really cool to look around.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff. So, yeah.
Good job.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was good. I think that's a cool format.
Thanks for listening. This is Peter Gilroy at Bonny Doon Tools. We are in Taos, New Mexico. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.